Today we are going to learn about similar figures. Our learning target is that we can apply attributes of similar figures to various shapes and that I can solve problems involving similar figures. Similar figures are two polygons that have the same shape but not the same size. Facts about similar figures: corresponding sides are equivalent, and corresponding angles are also equivalent. So this is the same thing here. They're both equal. Okay, so we have example 1. We have two figures that are the same shape, but they are not the same size. So we write all four corresponding congruent angles. So if we look here, this angle is congruent to this angle. So angle B, and congruent is the symbol right here. So make sure you write that down. Congruent, so angle B is congruent to angle X. And then right here, 105, we're going to put two lines. And this angle right here is also 105, so those are equivalent. So angle A is congruent. Congruent means equal. Is congruent to angle W. Right here, 90. I'm going to try to fit in 3. And the reason why we have to change the number is because if I were to put 1, I have one tick mark on 45. So that would show me that 45, 45, and 90 are all equal, and that's not true. So angle C, so here's the angle, and here's the angle. Angle C is congruent to angle Y. And then our last one, I'm going to do no tick marks simply because of spacing, is angle D and angle Z are both 120 degrees. Therefore, angle D is congruent to angle Z. And then we have scale factor. So what scale factor was used to create the polygon? Scale factor, we use our side angles. So remember, scale factor equals new over old. In this case, we don't have a scenario to tell us which one was new and which one was old. So this one came first. So we're going to say that this one is the old since it's written first. And this one is the new since it's written second. Okay, so new over old, I would pick a number, and it has to be in the same spot of each of these diagrams. So I'm going to pick this bottom number, 80. So 80 would be my new, and I would look at my old figure and go to the same exact place and see that the 8 lives there. So for my scale factor, I would write my new, which is 80, and put it on top of my old, which is 8. Going from my old to my new, we see that we got bigger. So the fact that we got bigger, we know that the scale factor has to be greater than 1. So when I simplify this, 80 divided by 8 is exactly 10, and that is greater than 1, so I know that this is accurate. Next one, to solve for unknown sides with similar figures, you can use proportions and cross products to find the length of an unknown side. So here we have triangle EFG, and it's saying it's similar to triangle HJK. Okay, so write a proportion for corresponding sides to find the missing value. So again, this is just identifying the same spot. So I'm finding the missing value, that's x right here. So I'm going to go the same spot on the similar figure, which happens to be 1. So I know that's going to be one of my proportions, but I need to find similar sides for the other side of my proportion. So here, 10.5 and 3.5 are in the same spot. So now I have everything I need to set up a proportion. So I'm going to put my square numbers, 10.5 and 3.5. I'm going to write their numbers down first. So 3.5 over 10.5 equals my circle numbers. I started with this one first, so 3.5 is on top, therefore x has to be on top. So we always want to make sure that our numbers are in the same spot. So I have my we want to make sure they're in the same spot so that we don't lose how we find x. So if we didn't write the proportion correctly, we wouldn't be able to find the value of x correctly. So here we cross multiply. So we have 10.5x equals 3.5 times 21. 3.5 times 21, that's one number to the right of the decimal. 5, 3, place value. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 735. One number to the right of the decimal. We place that back in. And we get 10.5x equals 73.5. So your final step in isolating the variable is to get x by itself. X equals, we're going to divide 73.5 divided by 10.5. Remember, we do not divide by decimals, so we want to move this over one time and bring it straight up. So now we're dividing 105 into 735. So we decide how many times does 105 go into 735. And so we go over to the side and pick a number. This is 5. 0 plus 3 is 3. And 7. So it goes in exactly 7 times. So x is 700 is 7, not 700. And that is your final answer. Okay, so number 3 says trapezoid TUVS is similar to trapezoid 0PQN. Write a proportion for corresponding sides to find the missing value. So again, we want to find the missing value first, which is right here. But if we notice our missing value, our missing value is on the side. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually flipped over. And so we want it to look like this. We could redraw it. And I'm just taking it and rotating it in this direction. So N is right here, 0, P, Q. 6 is in between N and O. And X is in between O and P. Okay, so now here is my X, which corresponds with the 12. And here is my 6, which corresponds with the 14. So we're finding X. Scale factor is new over old. This one came first, so this is your old, and this is your new. So here we're going to just pick a side, and I'm going to pick my squares. So if this is my new right here, I'm going to pick 6 over 14, and I can simplify that. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. So my scale factor would be 3 over 7. Okay, so now I set up my proportions. I'm going to do my circles first. So my circle is x over 12 equals 6, because it comes from the same, over 14 right here. And then you cross multiply and divide. So I'm press pause, finish this problem, and press play when you have finished. So you should have gotten that x is about 5.14 centimeters. Last one. Here you can see that your small triangle is inside your big triangle. So we still have two figures, similar figures. Triangle RST is similar. This right here means similar. To triangle MNT. So use the given information to find RT. So it says M to T. So this line M to T right there, that is 8. T to N is 15. M to N is 17. And T to S is 45. So that's T to S is 45. Okay, and it says to find R to T. So this line right here, that's X. Okay, so to find similar figures, if I'm looking for X and that goes all the way down the big triangle, then I'm looking for the height of the small triangle, which is 8. And so those are matching or congruent sides. So then I need to find a different side that's congruent, and that's going to be this right here. 15 is congruent to 45. Okay, so we set up a proportion by doing our circles equal to our rectangles. Okay, and then we cross multiply and divide. And then right here we have scale factor equals new over old. So we have to have this big one before we can get this small one, okay? Also, this is your old because it came first, and this is your new because it came second. So you could pick 45 because 45 corresponds with your old, and 15 corresponds with your new. So if you were to write that in a ratio, it would look like this, 15 over 45. And then simplify. So I'm going to leave that for you to do, to simplify on your own. And then I want you to set up your proportion and then cross multiply and divide and tell me what X equals. When you have finished, make sure that you write down any questions that you may have so that you can ask in class tomorrow.